Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. On this program, I want to look at the first 4 prophecies in the Bible. And I especially want to consider the 4th prophecy, because the 4th prophecy is about these end times. This should not be surprising because, as we know, the number 4 is an end times number. Now, the first prophecy in Genesis is from God to Adam. And he tells Adam, if you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will surely die. This prophecy, of course, came true a long time ago. And in fact, all of mankind must die because of Adam's sin. The second prophecy in Genesis is made by the serpent. And therefore, it is a false prophecy, because the serpent is actually Satan. He tells Eve, you will not die, but you will become like gods. Of course, his false prophecy did not come true. Now, the third prophecy in Genesis is made by God to the serpent. He tells the serpent that you will crawl on your belly all the days of your life, and you shall eat the dust of the earth. And now we come to the 4th prophecy, which is an end times prophecy. And God predicts to the serpent that I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. Now, the woman in this case is not just any woman. This woman is Mary, and by extension, the Catholic Church. Her seed, of course, is Jesus Christ. And the serpent's seed is the Antichrist. But now the second part of this passage from Genesis 3:15, there is some confusion about. Let's see how the translators translate this very important end times passage from the book of Genesis. Now, all 14 translations on the Biblos website pretty much agree on the first part of Genesis 3:15. And I will put enmity between you, that is the serpent, or Satan, and the woman, who is Mary, between your seed, which is the Antichrist, and her seed, who is Jesus Christ. But now there are quite a few discrepancies in the various translations. He, she, or it shall crush or bruise your head, and you shall strike, bruise, wound, crush, lie in wait for her or his heel. Now, it's very important for us to discover, is this he, who would be Jesus, who shall crush his head, or is it she, that is Mary, who shall crush or bruise Satan's head? And does Satan strike or bruise Mary's heel or Jesus' heel? If we let the Bible explain the Bible, then we can find passages in the Old Testament that explain this relationship between Jesus, Mary, and the Antichrist. For example, when David kills Goliath, he uses 5 smooth pebbles. Those 5 smooth pebbles signify the rosary. Notice there is no physical contact between David and Goliath. It is the 5 smooth pebbles, or the 1 pebble, which actually strikes the giant. And in fact, it puts a dent in the forehead of the giant, because the Bible says that the stone lodges in his forehead. Or let's take a look at the book of Esther. Now, Esther symbolizes Mary. King Ahasuerus symbols Jesus. And the evil Haman signifies the Antichrist. But again, notice there is no physical contact between King Ahasuerus and Haman. But there is physical contact between Esther and Haman. In fact, King Ahasuerus comes in upon them, and he accuses Haman of trying to assault his wife. Now, Haman is actually begging Esther for his life, but still, there is physical contact between the precursor of the Antichrist, that is Haman, and Esther, that is the precursor of Mary. So now let's revisit this 4th prophecy in the Bible in the light of the 2 prophecies that we have spoken of. In Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. She, that is the woman who has the physical contact, shall crush. I think crush is better than bruise. Remember the pebble that strikes Goliath. Your head, and you shall strike or bruise, I think. Either one would be good here. And it must be her heel, not his heel. I do not believe that God will allow his son Jesus to be struck again by Satan, because Jesus already has suffered the bloodshed of the cross. So in conclusion, the fourth prophecy in the Bible, that is the end times prophecy, tells us how Jesus is going to defeat the Antichrist. He is going to defeat him through his mother Mary. This will be a humiliating defeat for Satan. And do not listen to the false prophets who say this woman in Genesis 3:15 and in Revelation is the state of Israel. This cannot possibly be. How do we know this? Because in Revelation we are told that this woman's seed has the testimony of Jesus Christ. This woman cannot possibly represent Israel. And we should also realize that her seed is not just her son Jesus, but also her spiritual children. In Revelation, the dragon goes to make war against the rest of her seed. That is plural. The rest of her seed refers to us. We are Mary's children. We are the ones who will fight the winning battle against the Antichrist. Thus we see that you are actually found in the Bible, because you are part of Mary's seed. You are the ones who will defeat the Antichrist, but only if you take up Jesus' weapon, the weapon of his choice, which will defeat the Antichrist, and that is Mary's rosary. And if you would like more information, simply write to the address you see on your screen.